After I refused to fund my uncle's new invention, he faked a terminal illness diagnosis and held a goodbye party complete with fake hospital gowns, fur poles, and wheelchairs. I hired a private investigator who found him booking golf tee times the very next morning. I released the evidence to the family and no one ever trusted him again. I'm Marcus. I'm 42. I run a small auto repair business in Austin, Texas. I'm not rich, but I'm doing okay. I own my house, I take care of my mom, and I've got 3 employees who depend on me. Everything I have, I worked for. No handouts. Now let me tell you about my Uncle Rick. Rick is my mom's younger brother. He's 56, and if I had to sum him up in one word, it would be schemer. He's always had some big plan, some business idea, some get-rich-quick thing he wants the family to invest in. We've heard it all. Organic dog shampoo, smart shoes, a water bottle that talks to you. Every time he swears this is the one. Every time it crashes and burns. My mom used to call him a dreamer. I call him full of it. He came to my shop one afternoon, maybe 3 months ago. Walked in like he owned the place, gave me a big hug, then pulled me to the side. Told me he had the next big thing. He showed me a video on his phone. It was him in his living room, shirtless, holding this long plastic tube full of water. He was swinging it around like some kind of workout wand. He called it the Hydroloop, said it used water dynamics and centrifugal resistance to build strength and balance. It looked like a $5 toy from a dollar store. Then he asked me for $20,000. I didn't yell. I didn't insult him. I just told him no, calm and straight. I said I couldn't keep throwing money at things that weren't real. I said, Rick, I've got employees to pay. I've got real bills. I'm not a bank. He went quiet, just stared at me, then said, "You'll regret this," and left. I didn't think much of it. That's just Rick being Rick. Then, about 2 months later, I got a message from my mom. It was a screenshot of a text Rick sent her. Said he'd been diagnosed with terminal cancer. Some rare, fast-moving type. Stage 4. Nothing they could do. I was stunned. I called her, and she was crying. She said Rick didn't want to talk much, but he was going to throw a party. A farewell gathering. Said he wanted to say goodbye to everyone while he still could. I didn't know how to feel. As much as I didn't trust him with money, I never thought he'd fake something like this. Who would? Who fakes terminal cancer? So I drove down to San Antonio for the party. It was being held at this rec center near his apartment. When I walked in, I thought I was in the wrong place. There were balloons, streamers, tables with food. But the weirdest part? The whole place looked like a hospital. Rick was in a wheelchair. He wore a hospital gown. He had a fake 4-pole rolling next to him, just a coat hanger with a bag of water and some tubes. His girlfriend was dressed like a nurse, even had a toy stethoscope. His friend, some guy I didn't recognize, wore a white coat and kept calling himself Dr. Dave. Rick looked up at me and gave this weak, dramatic smile. "Marcus," he said, "I didn't think you'd come. I wanted to see you," I said, keeping my voice flat. He nodded like some wise old monk. Then he looked around the room and gave this long speech. He said, "I've made mistakes. I've hurt people. But if this is my last chapter, I'm grateful it's with all of you." Then he looked at me and added, "Marcus, I know money came between us. I forgive you." People clapped. Some cried. I stood there stone-faced. My stomach felt wrong. I didn't know what was happening, but something was off. I stayed for an hour, ate some cake, said hi to a few cousins. Then I left. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. That 4-pole looked fake. That wheelchair? He was pushing it himself half the time when he thought no one was looking. And I couldn't shake the feeling he'd used this party to get sympathy and maybe more than that. So the next morning I made a call. A guy I know, Tom, used to be a detective. Now he's a private investigator. I'd fixed his car a few years back and kept his card. I called and said, "Tom, I need to know what my uncle does tomorrow morning. I'll pay your rate." He said okay. Asked for some details, then said he'd send me a report. The next day, I was at my shop when I got a text. It was 1 photo and 1 sentence. The photo was Rick standing at a golf course, holding a club, laughing. No wheelchair, no gown, nothing wrong with him. The message said, Canyon Springs Golf Club, 9:47 a.m. Played a full 18. I sat down on the hood of a car and just stared at my phone. Then I got angry. Not just for me. For my mom. For my cousins. For everyone at that party who believed him. Who cried with him. Who prayed for him. I didn't wait. I sent the photo to the family group chat. No message, no build-up. Just the image. Then I typed, "This was this morning. He's not dying. He's playing golf." First, nothing. Then my cousin Danielle responded, "What?" Then came the flood. Calls, messages, questions. Danielle had sent him $5,000 for experimental treatment. My cousin Adam let him borrow his truck for final drives to the lake. My aunt had started a GoFundMe. Rick didn't respond for hours. Then finally, he sent one message. "It's complicated. I'm still processing everything. People weren't buying it anymore." Danielle called him a liar. My mom wouldn't speak to him. My cousin took his truck back. The GoFundMe got shut down. And that photo spread fast. Someone posted it on Facebook with the caption, "Guess who's not dying after all?" Rick deactivated his account the next day. He tried calling me once. I didn't pick up. Now, every couple of weeks I get a weird anonymous text. No name. Just one word. Traitor. That's fine. I'll wear that. Because I didn't let him keep scamming the family. But it's not over. Not yet. After the photo leak, things got quiet for a while. No one in the family talked about Rick out loud anymore. He became like some shameful secret we were all trying to ignore. But I knew him. I knew he wouldn't just crawl away and disappear. Not Rick. 3 weeks later, my mom called me one night. I was watching TV and drinking a beer when the phone lit up. She never calls after 9. I picked up. "Hey, Ma. You okay?" Her voice was tight. "Rick just showed up at my house." I sat up. "What?" "He's in the driveway. Says he wants to talk. Says he's dying for real now." "Don't open the door," I said. She hesitated. "Marcus, he's still my brother." "No. He's a liar." "I know," she said, her voice cracking. "But I need you to come here. Please." I didn't argue. I grabbed my keys and drove over. She lives about 25 minutes north of me in Round Rock. I didn't even turn the radio on. My hands were tight on the wheel the whole way. When I pulled into her driveway, I saw him. Rick, leaning on her porch rail like a sad dog, smoking a cigarette. He had bags under his eyes and wore a hoodie like he was trying to hide. He looked at me and gave a sad little smile. "Hey, kid." I didn't say anything. I walked past him and into the house. Found Mom standing in the kitchen holding a mug with both hands like it might shake out of her grip. I told him he's got 10 minutes, she whispered. Rick came in a moment later, took off his hoodie. "Look, I know everyone's mad. I messed up. I admit that." "You didn't mess up," I said. "You lied to people who loved you. You stole from family." He raised both hands. "I didn't steal. They gave it to me." I walked toward him slowly. "After you said you were dying." He dropped his gaze. "Okay, yeah, that was wrong. But I needed the money. You think I wanted to fake cancer? You think I enjoyed it?" "No, Rick. I think you enjoyed the attention. I think you liked being the center of everything for once." That hit him. He stepped back like I'd shoved him. "I've been dealing with stuff," he said. "Real stuff. Mental health. Depression. Anxiety." "Then you should have said that instead of putting on a hospital gown and faking in 4. Mom broke in. "Enough. Please. Just tell us what you want, Rick." He took a breath. "I want to make things right. I'm getting help. I joined a support group. I'm trying to fix what I broke." I didn't believe a word of it. But Mom did. She's always been the soft one. She told him he could come in for coffee. I left. I didn't want to watch him wrap her around his finger again. But that was just the start. Because 2 weeks later, my cousin Danielle called me crying. She said Rick had been spotted outside her work, waiting by her car. He said he wanted to apologize, she told me, her voice shaking. But then he asked for more money. Said his group therapy wasn't covered by insurance. I told him no, and he grabbed my arm. That was it. I'd had enough. I called Tom, the PI again. Told him I needed more than just a photo. I wanted a full report on what Rick was doing, where he was living, who he was talking to. Tom got to work. A week later, he sent me something I didn't expect. Rick wasn't broke. Not even close. He had a bank account under a business name, LoopFit Dynamics LLC, that had over $18,000 in it. He'd started an online store, selling a knockoff version of the Hydro Loop on Etsy and eBay, calling it a NASA-inspired core trainer. He was filming videos again, teaching recovery workouts for cancer survivors. And people were buying it. Dozens of sales. 5-star reviews. One customer even thanked him for being brave and sharing your journey. He turned the whole fake cancer thing into a brand. I felt sick. I sent the report to the family. Every page, every photo, every screenshot. This time, even the people who had stayed quiet started speaking up. One uncle said he'd call a lawyer. Danielle reported the arm grab to the police. And I started planning something bigger. Because it wasn't enough for Rick to lose trust. I wanted him exposed. Publicly. And I had a plan. So here's the thing about Rick, he's not just a liar. He's good at it. He knows how to spin a story, how to make himself look like a victim, and how to play people against each other. And despite everything I'd already uncovered, he was still out there smiling in his fake testimonials, cashing in on fake cancer workouts, collecting money off a lie. I couldn't let it go. The last straw came when I found out he was trying to pitch the Hydro Loop to a local rehab clinic near my shop. Someone at the clinic, an old friend of mine from high school who now worked in admin, called me. Marcus, she said, didn't you say your uncle was a scammer? Because he's here, claiming he beat cancer with this stupid tube thing and wants us to order a bunch. That was it. I told her everything. She said she'd forward it to their legal department, but I knew that wouldn't stop him. So I did something I'd never done before. I made it public. I put together a full post. Photos, timelines, bank statements, and screenshots from his online store. I left out any personal attacks and stuck to the facts. I uploaded it to a local Austin subreddit under my real name. Titled it, My Uncle Faked Terminal Cancer to Get Money from Family. Now he's selling fake recovery equipment based on that lie. It blew up. Within 48 hours, people started reposting it to other forums. It hit Facebook. A few small fitness bloggers picked it up. A wellness influencer even made a video reacting to it. Called it one of the most disgusting grifts I've ever seen. The Hydro Loop store disappeared 3 days later. Then Rick started calling me. Voicemail after voicemail. All the same tone. Not angry. Not sorry. Desperate. Marcus, take it down. Please. You don't know what you've done. This isn't just about me anymore. I ignored him. Then I got a call from an unknown number. It was his girlfriend. Or ex-girlfriend, I guess. She sounded shaken. You need to know something. Rick's not just scamming you guys. He's using a fake name on all the product orders. He told me it was to avoid taxes, but it's worse than that. I asked her to send proof. She did. Fake name, fake tax ID. A P.O. box listed as his corporate office. He was laundering the money, funneling it through a fake LLC registered in New Mexico. He'd even set up a fake charity arm called Hydro Hope Recovery Fund, with a PayPal link and everything. People had been donating. I sent the entire file to a lawyer, then to the local news tip line. A week later, a news crew showed up at his apartment complex in San Antonio. I know because someone recorded it and posted it online. Rick refused to answer the door. They ran the story anyway. Local man accused of faking cancer for cash. Selling fraudulent medical equipment online. That's when the real fallout started. The state attorney general's office opened an investigation. The IRS got involved. One of the customers who'd bought the Hydro Loop had already filed a complaint about false medical claims. And me? I stayed quiet. Until the day I found out Rick was planning to leave town. I got the tip from Tom, the PI. Rick had bought a one-way bus ticket to Arizona. He was planning to disappear, start over, and probably run the same scam again somewhere new. But I wasn't done with him yet. When I found out Rick was planning to leave town, something in me snapped. I could have let it go. Could have sat back and let the state or IRS handle it. But after everything, after what he did to my mom, my cousins, to me, I needed him to face someone in person. Not just disappear and start over. I needed to look him in the eye when it all fell apart. Tom, the PI, got me the bus info. Departure from San Antonio Greyhound Station. 9:15 p.m., Platform 6. I left work early that day. Drove straight down. Didn't tell anyone where I was going. When I pulled into the parking lot, it was already dark. I parked in the far corner and waited. Had my hoodie pulled up, cap low. Just sat in my truck, watching the entrance. At 8:55 he showed up. Rick, rolling a cheap black duffel bag behind him, looking around like he was nervous. Same hoodie from before. Alone. I got out of my truck and walked straight toward him. He saw me halfway across the sidewalk and stopped in his tracks. "Oh, come on," he muttered. "Really?" I didn't yell. I didn't punch him. I just walked up, stood 3 feet away, and looked him dead in the eye. "You weren't gonna say goodbye this time?" He gave a weak laugh. "You ruined my life, Marcus." I shook my head. "No, you did that. I just stopped you from doing it to more people." He clenched his jaw. "You think you're better than me?" "No," I said. "I think I worked for what I have. And I don't lie to people who love me." He took a step forward. "You humiliated me. My name is garbage now. I lost everything." I pulled a folded piece of paper from my jacket. "You're about to lose more." He hesitated. "What is that?" "Official notice. Civil lawsuit. From Danielle. For the money. She's not letting it go. Neither is the IRS, by the way. Or the AG's office." He stared at it like it was poison. "You really went this far?" I stepped closer. "You faked cancer, Rick. You put on a gown, threw a party, cried into people's shoulders, and then went golfing the next day. And when that wasn't enough, you scammed strangers online with fake workout gear and fake charity links." He didn't answer. I handed him the paper and turned around. As I walked away, he called out, "One day you'll make a mistake just as big. And nobody will show you mercy." I stopped. Then I turned back and said, "Maybe. But I won't be wearing a hospital gown when I do." I left him there. Didn't look back. 3 weeks later, he was arrested. Fraud, wire fraud, tax evasion. Charges stacked like bricks. The news stations did follow-ups. Family members testified. Danielle got most of her money back through the suit. The rest of us just got closure. My mom cried when he went to jail. Said she still remembered when he was a sweet little boy who loved building kites. But she didn't visit him. Neither did I. The truth is, I wasn't clean in all this either. I got too angry. I got obsessed. I dragged him through the dirt because it made me feel powerful. Like I was in control. I don't regret stopping him, but I still think about how it changed me. It made me colder. Now, when someone asks for help, I hesitate. I ask more questions. I look for the lie before I offer the hand. Rick taught me that. He's been locked up for over a year now. Last I heard, he's trying to start a business inside teaching inmate yoga with towels as resistance bands. Maybe he'll call it the prison loop. Good luck with that. But this time, the only audience he has is steel bars and a bunch of guys who don't give second chances. And I sleep fine.